Prime Minister Modi chaired the SCO virtual meeting today. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will host Chinese President Xi Jinping, Russian President Vladimir Putin, Pakistani Prime Minister Sheikh Baz Sharif and other leaders of the SCO members in a virtual meeting, expected to focus on the regional security situation and approach. Networking and business promotion. After the brief attack by a mercenary group that rocked Moscow last week, Putin will be attending a public meeting for the first time. At the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) summit chaired by India, Iran will also be welcomed as the new permanent member of the organization. At the meeting, besides the situation in Afghanistan, the conflict in Ukraine and strengthening the cooperation of SCO members, those familiar with the subject should further discuss the linkage and trade pressure. The meeting was also held to protest the outcome of more than 3 years of fighting between Indian and Chinese forces on Ladak's eastern border, 2 weeks after Prime Minister Modi's visit to the United States. Composed of India, China, Russia, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, the SCO is an economic and security bloc that has become one of the largest international organizations. On September 16 last year, India chaired the Shanghai Cooperation Organization at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's Samarkand Summit. Those who think that the 4th of July is the date for the SCO meeting should be commended for their sense of humor. Of course, it should be a matter of time, decide to consult with all participating countries first in the process. But the reason I said that the date of the meeting should put a smile on the face of the readers is that the SCO has seen a lot of being a Chinese organization, and July 4th is America's Independence Day. We all know that China and the US are not best friends right now. Unfortunately, although the SCO meeting will be held on July 4th, it has been reduced to online comment or analysis. Nearly 500 days after attacking Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin, Chinese President Xi Jinping and other prime ministers and governments of the 4 countries will join. These are Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, negotiations with Armenia, Azerbaijan, Cambodia, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Turkey. The 3-hour meeting will be chaired by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi from 12:30 to 3:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So what happened? Modi, who made a great impact on India in the region by attending the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's Tashkent meeting last year, how did he decide that the meeting should be online after visiting all the Central Asian countries? Especially with the coronavirus, isn't the word fashion no longer valid? After all, isn't it time to show the moderate path that Modi has supported since the Russian intervention in Ukraine? That is, an increase in India's imports of Russian oil, which now accounts for about 42% of its imports. At the same time, an important development in relations with the United States. Modi and Putin are thought to have known each other for years. Modi called Putin after returning from the US, as friends hang out with other friends and then write to each other. There will not be a meeting of the SCO body in the presence of Xi Jinping. There will be no opportunity to clarify that. Ati Devo Bhava will not allow him to insult his guest, while expressing displeasure that Modi is good to spread. Won't the situation between Modi and India get better as the 4 leaders of Central Asia stand side by side with him? Despite the road being blocked by the conflict in Afghanistan and India and Pakistan no longer talking to each other, India is still the world's largest market. But the fact remains that India has joined the Taliban government in a small way over the past 2 years. Others may not like it, but it shows Delhi's willingness to maintain stability. Isn't it a good time to talk about the need for democracy in South Asia's DNA, with the participation of Pakistani Prime Minister Sheikh Baz Sharif? Although Foreign Minister Jaishankar made it clear that negotiations with Pakistan were impossible due to the angle, Modi managed to surprise everyone. There is no time? Chapter. Well, why didn't Modi make it clear that I wanted a physical meeting with the Shanghai Cooperation Organization? Even the foreign ministers, the protocol officers, will shake their heads and reply, "The G20 meeting will probably be held in September. The most important country and leaders in the world can come. We have it right with this." Perhaps that is why even Modi knows that asking Putin and Xi to meet in Delhi twice a month will go a long way, especially when it comes to Putin, who is widely viewed as a dangerous traveler. Although he comes every year to reunite, he barely stayed one night and left. Another minor problem is that India and China cannot agree on the border, and the conflict is 3 important days behind. In eastern Ladakh, 50,000 Indian and Chinese troops are deployed out of sight, which may cause President Xi Jinping to have some uncomfortable moments in the city. PM Modi, on the other hand, can use this opportunity to announce something about democracy rather than a party dictatorship, especially since these large gatherings are so tightly controlled. Now we will see that Xi Jinping and Putin will also be at the G20 summit. It will be interesting to see how Western powers react to their presence, especially as the Russian invasion of Ukraine has created new tensions between East and West. Perhaps the real lack of time for the SCO meeting is that the Central Asians will not be there. Of course, India's lack of focus on Central Asia has done this very well. China is expanding through the Belt and Road, and Russia has no intention of putting its power in this near region. But India is reluctant to spend money on promoting connectivity and promoting trade and investment. Raj Kapoor and Mithun Chakraborty can only do so much. There is also a small problem. Iran and Belarus became full members of this SCO meeting. Iran has had strained relations with Delhi, especially over the past few months. Iran's foreign minister cancelled a trip to India's Foreign Policy Summit speech Raisina dialogue in February. A physical meeting would certainly make Iran vulnerable. Does all this mean that India is moving away from the middle path and not towards one pole but the other? The main reason for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's online meeting is Modi's unwillingness to take a detour in the balance of countries. However, all SCO member states will be listening to each other via a Zoom call tomorrow. Let's see how that changes now.